I'm Emily Shoemate. I'm Director of Enrollment and Student Services for LSMSA, and we're glad to have all you guys here tonight. We thought that as we go through the presentation, we would probably just keep most everybody on mute so that we don't have some of the issues when we have sort of background noise and that sort of thing. But throughout the presentation, if you have any questions that come up as we're going along, feel free to just drop those in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat, and the comments are coming just to me. And so our plan is sort of towards the end to try to handle most of the questions, because probably if you have a question, somebody else might have the similar question. So for the most part, I'll just gather questions as we're going. And at the end, we'll answer those questions. But if you do have something that's more of a private question and you want to just get sort of a private answer for that, you can just put that also with your question that it's private, and I can answer just to you, or if anything seems really very specific and maybe not something that the whole group might want to have that same information. I'd like to introduce my Assistant Director, Ms. Heather Titchener. Heather? Are you there, Heather? Can you talk?
Oh, hi. Yeah. Sorry, Emily. I think it was cutting out a bit on my end. So hopefully the video and audio connection is good for everybody. Anyway, welcome to tonight. My name is Heather Titchener, and I'm the Assistant Director of Enrollment Services here at LSMSA. And I'm going to be leading the presentation, and then Emily and I will be taking questions at the end. So, okay. All right, if we're ready to go, I'll get started. And I'm going to basically, let's see if this actually works to get the video actually going. Got to get it going. There we go. Okay. So tonight we're going to present to you the LSMSA experience. Ooh, So a brief overview of what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to start by looking at the academic program, including college counseling and just what's involved in being a student at LSMSA. Then we're going to look at the other big part of being here, which is the residential experience, and then also the student services for the students that are here, and then the type of student that we look for, as well as how to apply if you haven't done so or haven't started your application already. Like Miss Emily said, we will be answering questions at the end of this presentation, and you can drop questions into the chat at any time. And Miss Emily will be monitoring those questions as they come in. And so if there's something that you want to know privately, just make sure to mention that in the chat, and she can get back to you directly. Otherwise, we'll kind of save up all the questions for the end, because often we find that, you know, more than one person has the same type of question. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Louisiana School for Math, Science, and the Arts, we are a residential high school. We are open to students from across the state of Louisiana in grades 10, 11, and 12. We offer college level classes to highly motivated and high achieving students from anywhere across the state. And we are a public school, so there is no tuition. We'll get into the few fees that we do have at the end of the presentation, but there's no tuition, and we are open to students from across the state. And we currently have students from about 72% of the parishes in Louisiana right now. And of course, we're always looking to get students from every parish. That would be amazing. So we are located in Natchitoches, which is in central Louisiana. We're about an hour between, or an hour from Shreveport, an hour from Alexandria. We're about 4 or 5 hours from Baton Rouge, New Orleans. Our campus is located on the edge of the Northwestern State University campus here in Natchitoches, but we are not actually part of NSU. We are our own entity. We have 4 buildings that hold our classes and our programming. So we have the high school building, Center for Performance and Technology, the Music and Arts building, and the gymnasium. And then we are lucky enough to have our brand new residence hall right next door to our academic campus. It's called the Living Learning Commons, or the LLC, and it just opened in the fall of 2021. So it's only about, I think, 4 months old at this point. Our first group of students are living in it now. And we'll talk a lot more about the residence hall in a bit. But even though we are not actually part of NSU, we do have a lot of access to its resources and its programming. So we're lucky enough to have that. The NSU library is our student library, so our students do have access to college level textbooks and research materials. They can also have access to the NSU athletic facilities and any of NSU's sporting or arts events. They pay the same student rate that an NSU student would. So we're very lucky that our campus is self-contained and all of our students live and study, in fairly close proximity to each other. There's not a lot of it's not all spread out across the city, but we do have access to, the larger amenities that a university can provide. I guess I should say that overall our campus holds about, I think, a maximum of 360 students. So we are fairly small. So let's talk about what it's like to be a student at LSMSA, the academic experience. As I mentioned, we have a maximum enrollment of 360 students. And so with our classes, our average class size is only about 12 students per one class. Some of our larger entry-level classes may have 18 to 19 students, but some of the, that's balanced out by the higher level classes. You get into the electives that may have 4 or 5 students. But what that means with those small classes is that you really get to know your instructors very well. They get to know you. You get to know your classmates. You get to really engage with the material. And there's lots of space for, participation and really getting into, your questions and, kind of getting into class discussions and not feeling overwhelmed or swallowed up by a large student body. And the other thing about, getting to know your classmates is that every student who's here at LSMSA has chosen to be here. Every student is here because they want to challenge themselves and they love to learn. And if you're here, then you're the same way. And so you're with people who want to be in class, who want to be taking the classes that you're taking, who want to, share ideas with you and with your professors. And your professors are also people who love to teach. So there's a strong love of learning and teaching that takes place at LSMSA. And, our small classes are a big part of that. Speaking a bit more about our faculty and our professors, more than 75% of our faculty hold a PhD or other terminal degree in their field. At a minimum, as you can see, they have to have a master's degree. And what that means is that they are all fully credentialed to teach at any college or university in the country. We teach college level classes. So instead of just teaching chemistry, we're teaching college level accelerated chemistry. Instead of teaching, English 2, we're teaching college level English. And so all of our faculty are perfectly able and willing to teach that university level classes. They are assigning college level textbooks. They are expecting students to be putting out the amount of work that a university student would be doing. And so it is a challenge, but it's also an opportunity to really, accelerate your learning and, dive right into some of those more rigorous courses, the deeper subject matter than you might get at a high school. We like to boast that our faculty have been recognized as some of the best high school teachers in the state. We think it's very true. And, like I said, they could be teaching at any university, and they're here at LSMSA because they love to teach. And that is the core of what they're doing. They're not spending half their time doing research. They're spending the bulk of their time teaching and holding office hours and mentoring and tutoring our students and making sure that they understand that subject matter and all of their questions get answered. All right, now, what are some of the classes that we offer? Now, what you see on screen here is a small sampling of the different courses that we offer. I think overall we have like over 350 courses that could be on our schedule at any one time. They're roughly divided up into 5 different areas. There's math and computer science, science, humanities, languages, and the arts. In math and computer science, we offer in any of the departments, we do offer all of the base courses that you need to graduate with a high school degree in Louisiana, to graduate as TOPS eligible. You know, we make sure you get all those core classes. But then we also offer, you know, electives that you might never find anywhere else in Louisiana. So in math and computer science, you know, we have geometry and algebra and calculus, again, at that college level. But we also have chaos theory and intro to cybersecurity. In science, you get your basic, you know, biology, chemistry, physics at an accelerated level. But we also have classes on botany or quantum mechanics. In the humanities section, instead of taking just an English 2 class, which might just be, you know, a survey of American literature, you can do a bit more of a deep dive into dystopian literature, or take creative writing. In the history section of the humanities, we offer the history of modern science. So if you're a science person, you can actually get your history course taken care of by focusing on the history of science. Or if you want to just go straight into, you know, history altogether, we have Korea to Vietnam, 1950 to 1975, or the modern Middle East. In languages, right now we offer French, Spanish, German, and Latin. Sometimes we offer Greek, and in the past we have offered Russian, Chinese, Arabic. We may be offering a new language soon. So we offer, you know, those accelerated language courses, and then also some, you know, more higher level niche courses like Latin paleography, which we're offering this semester, or, you know, advanced Spanish literature and culture. For the arts, we offer our arts in 4 different main subject matters. We have music, dance, theater, and fine arts, visual arts. And so in those, you can take private voice lessons. You could do printmaking or architecture. You can take a ballet class, or you could go into stage production in the theater side. So again, a wide variety of things there. And for our arts programs, you know, everyone has to take at least one arts program. And, you know, maybe you've never taken piano lessons, but you've always wanted to try. You can take beginner piano as your arts lesson. Maybe you've always wanted to, you know, try your hand at printmaking, and your current high school doesn't offer that. You can try that here. Maybe you have always been the lead in your school musicals, and you want to, you know, keep going with drama and push yourself, you know. So not only do we have advanced acting styles, but we have script analysis where you can dive a bit deeper into the script work. So you know, no matter what your level is, we have something that can meet that. All right, now I mentioned, I think multiple times now, that when you're here at LSMSA, you're taking college level classes, but we also are preparing you for that college lifestyle and college work that will come once you graduate from here. And so we do offer several opportunities to earn college credit while you are here, in addition to the high school credits that you will be getting. So we have 10 articulation agreements with 9 universities here in state in Louisiana and 1 in Georgia. And we have 2 dual enrollment understandings with NSU and ULM. And what those agreements offer is a chance for you to be earning college credit while you are taking high school classes here at LSMSA. So you're not doing any extra work for this. You're not having to take any extra testing, but it's just something that you would be discussing, you know, with your academic advisors, maybe with our registrar. And basically you can be earning college credits while you're doing your high school transcripts. Now, what that means is that you can actually be earning college credit hours while you're here. And then when you go to university, you can be starting as a sophomore instead of as a freshman. Some of our very enterprising and canny students have started university as a junior. So they're starting, you know, 2 years ahead in their college career so that they can, you know, get their undergrad done in 2 years, and then go straight into grad school or, you know, straight into the workforce, whatever it is they're looking for. And if there are any parents on this call, You'll probably recognize that skipping a year or two of university is going to save you some money, save you some loan payments, which maybe the high school students aren't thinking about yet, but you should be. Um, and so we think this is a really great opportunity. I will say the middle number there on this screen, it says 74 college credit hours can be earned by completing LSMSA coursework. That number has actually increased since this slide was produced, and now you can earn up to 100 credit hours, which is a lot, and that's why some of our students can go on to start university so far ahead. Now, one thing that we don't offer is AP classes, and we do get some people asking us why we don't. And the main reason that we don't offer AP classes is because AP classes were designed to showcase students who can handle a rigorous and accelerated curriculum. Our school and our students have already proven that they can do that by being here, by graduating from LSMSA. Most universities and colleges around the country, if they see that you're an LSMSA graduate, they already know that you can do that rigorous coursework. So they don't need that AP designation. You just need to, that LSMSA mark on your transcript. With that being said, if you are, if you really do want to take the AP tests, we do offer them. You can work with our college counselors to get that testing done. It's not like they are banned from our campus. We just don't offer the classes that go with it. And so you can see in the points further down, one of the reasons that we don't offer AP classes is that the curriculum for those classes is dictated by an independent company, by the College Board, and our faculty determine their own curriculum, much like a university professor would. And so we don't put those restraints on their classes. You also have to pay the College Board to take the AP tests. Our dual enrollment or articulation agreements do not require any additional testing. Like I said, you're just taking LSMSA classes as you would anyway to graduate from here as a high schooler. And so, you don't have to pay any additional money for that. For AP classes, earning the credit for the class is dependent on your test score. If you don't score high enough on an AP test, you're not going to get the credit for it. For dual enrollment and articulation agreements, as long as you pass the class as an LSMSA class, you're passing it as a university college credit. And AP classes are not accepted by all universities. They're not accepting all of those AP testing. With ours, you're earning like legitimate college credits. So if a university is going to accept the college credits from those colleges, they're going to accept it from us. So we think it's a better deal, but obviously, it all depends on your personal situation. But anyway, that's why we don't offer AP classes. Now, there are some special academic programs that are available in addition to just the regular college level classes that we offer. The first is Special Projects Week, and that is something that actually just finished up last week for us. We actually follow kind of a college semester system where we have a fall semester that runs from August through to December, and then we have a spring or winter semester that runs from January through to May. And everyone goes home, after finals in December. Everyone gets 3 weeks off to kind of cool down and take a break, enjoy a holiday. And then when everyone comes back at the beginning of January, students and staff, instead of launching, straight into another semester of rigorous, academic work, we kind of ease into it in a more fun way with Special Projects Week. So for this week, it's 1 week only at the beginning of January, where all the professors offer classes that are slightly or completely different from what they normally offer. So it could be a class that is based on another part of their research that they just don't offer in their regular classes. It could be a class that's based on a hobby of theirs. It could be a class that they're just taking one little part of their class and breaking it out. We have had classes for Special Projects Week Well, just the past one last week, we had classes where the Latin teacher had kids build their own wooden chariots and decorate them and hold chariot races by the end of the week. We had one of our arts teachers, or two of our arts teachers, take kids to Crystal Bridges in Arkansas to look at modern art. We had one of our historians and one of our math teachers get together and do a class on gerrymandering and the political and mathematical mix that goes into gerrymandering. So it's all kinds of things. We also had classes on the philosophy of Star Trek, and another class did field trips to different Creole historical sites. So it's all different kinds of things, and students can sign up for any of the classes that they want. You basically just take one class for that week. You might be taking a class with a professor you've never had before. You could be meeting students you've never had classes with before. And so it's a really fun way to kind of get excited about a topic. Maybe it's something you know so much about and you want to spend more time with it. Maybe it's something you know nothing about and you just want to try it out. So that's a really fun week for us. And then starting this week, everyone's starting back now into that winter semester and their regular classes. So that special projects week is something that is actually, it's a special program, but all of our students are involved in it, all of our students and faculty. The other programs that are mentioned here are ones that are optional, and they offer different ways of kind of really digging deep into a topic or into a subject. The Future Scientist program and the Artist in Training program are for students who are obviously very interested in either science or arts. And so if they decide to enter those programs, they're basically pledging to undertake, they're going to take additional classes. They're going to do some independent studies. They're going to attend special seminars or workshops on those topics. And they're going to meet, with their fellow program members and the advisors there to really, discover, like what is new in scientific research, and listen to, in the science program, they have a science speaker series where on Fridays they'll invite a scientist from the area. Could be an NSU scientist, could be another LSMSA scientist who maybe just isn't part of the regular program. Could be a guest speaker from, Duke University is going to come in and talk about, the state of their research or the latest findings on something. For the Artist in Training program, they're going to make sure that they attend a certain number of NSU performances or other community performances. They had a guest dance instructor come in last semester and do a series of dance workshops for them. So those are just ways to really, get immersed more in that specific field and discover more of, the mentorship, more networking, the more possibilities there are for that field. Senior capstone and distinction are kind of our like honors level projects that seniors undertake as an independent study in their final year. And so with that, they're going to find a mentor, they're going to propose a project. They might spend the summer going off and doing archival research or lab work at a different university, maybe LSU, maybe UNC, wherever might be the right place for them. And or maybe they're just going off into the swamps of Louisiana to look for spiders. And so they go off and do that over the summer. And then when they come back in for their senior year, they're writing up their research, they're compiling their findings, and writing up, basically we call it like a baby dissertation. They're writing a fairly large paper about all of that. And then in the spring, part of their program is they have to do a public program about it. So they have to present their findings, not just to, instructors in their field, but to the larger student body. And then they graduate with that distinction mark on their diploma. Graduating with distinction here at LSMSA is the highest mark that you can achieve as a graduate. Only a small handful of our students choose to do a distinction project every year because it is a high mark of distinction, but it is also a lot of work. So it is something that is available to people, but it is not, required. Don't let it scare you off. All right. Now we talked a bit about college and how we offer college credits, but of course, as I said, one of the things that LSMSA really prides itself on is getting students prepared to go to college and for the college experience. And so we are lucky enough to have two full-time college counselors whose sole job is to work with our juniors and seniors to help them find the right college for them, find the right university program, and find the scholarships to pay for it. This can be a big job. And so in the spring of your junior year and the fall of your senior year, you actually have a class dedicated to spending the time with these college counselors to do the research, to do the writing, to go through those applications, all that whole process, and figure out where you're going to go, where you're going to apply, and where we can find the money. Our college counselors are really good at, if you already know where you want to go, they're going to help you, with that application and finding the money to pay for it. If you're not sure where you want to go, they're going to help you research all the options and maybe find that perfect, maybe tiny liberal arts college in Oregon that you never knew existed, or maybe find that, perfect chemistry-based lab in, Indiana that you didn't know about. So they help you with that. As I said, they're very good at their job, but of course they're obviously working with such great material, and our students are obviously very good applicants. The last class that graduated, the class of 21, there were about 120 students in that class, and they were awarded over $27.8 million in merit-based scholarships alone. So they were able to put forward very compelling cases for why they deserved that money. As you can see right at the bottom of the screen, our average ACT score of our graduates is 29.8, which is much higher than the state average. So we're very proud of our graduates. And like I said, we do a lot to help our students prepare themselves for college. Now, before I talk about the residential experience, I will say, just as we're wrapping up the academic part, that if you do have any questions, as anything's coming up, if anything occurs to you that you have a question about, you can, of course, drop it in the chat. And Miss Emily is monitoring the chat. And so also, if anyone has joined us late, just as a reminder, that's something that you can do. And if it's something that you want a private response to, just please mark it as private, so she knows not to share that. But otherwise, we'll be sharing questions at the end and answering them. But now let's talk about the residential experience, because I did mention, this is a residential high school. So all of the students across the state, they're coming and they're living here on our campus here at Natchitoches, just like if you were going to university, in Texas. So here is a photo of the front of our Living Learning Commons, which, as I said, is our brand new residence hall. We are very proud of it. We love to show it off. So we have 3 full towers, and that comprises 10 halls worth of students. 1 tower is reserved for male students, 1 for female, and then each of those towers has 4 halls in it. And then we have a 3rd tower, which is all the common spaces at the bottom, and then it has 2 halls at the top. And those halls can be reserved for either females or males, depending on our enrollment population. Currently, it is 4 females. So we have the space, as I said, for 360 students maximum. So that's about 36 students per hall, and there are 9 suites on each hall. The comment we'll go into, what an actual room looks like, what a suite actually is in a bit. But I will say the common spaces, which, if you're looking at this photo, just to the kind of middle right of the photo on the bottom floor, that's all the common space down there, the common lobby. There's a check-in desk there where there's always a residential life staff person on duty. There's a big kind of open meeting area there. And then we have a lot of common spaces on that floor. We have a games room, a student lounge, a demonstration kitchen, and a health clinic. And I'll go into some more detail about some of those spaces in a bit. So we do have an experienced residential life staff. And, we recognize that the students that are coming to live here, even though it is like a college experience, you guys are just high school students. They're 16, 17, 18 years old. So we make sure that there are adults who are qualified and experienced to supervise, to guide these high school students who are living away from home, perhaps a bit sooner than you intended. And so our residential life staff, they are all adults. They all have to have at minimum a bachelor degree, and they are here living on our res halls. It is their full-time job. So they are not, doing this part-time while they're an undergrad at NSU. These people are, dedicated to this. This is their full-time job. We have one res life staff person on every hall. And that person, as I said, they're there to supervise. They are going to conduct room checks every night for curfew and make sure that everyone's in. They're also going to just check in on people, like how did your test go today? Or, how was the visit back home? They're going to offer guidance. Our res life staff are often the first point of call for the parents. So, sometimes the res life staff member might be knocking on your door and being like, hey, your mom just texted me, like she hasn't heard from you in a few days. Can you check in with her? But they're also going to be holding hall meetings so that everyone knows, what's going on, giving them updates about stuff. And they will lead different activities. So we offer a number of different activities on evenings and weekends, and our res life staff are the ones who do those. So they're a good group of people. Here is a look at one of the rooms in our halls. So what you're seeing here is two photos of a room. Basically, each room you share a room with another person. So each room has two people in it. And then each suite has two rooms. So each suite has four people. And so in the suite, those four people are going to share a shower and a toilet, each in individual rooms, as well as double sinks and extra cabinetry in kind of a common area when you first walk in. And then there are the two rooms towards the back of the suite. Each room, as I said, is for two people. So each person has a raised bed. So it's kind of like a bunk bed, but there's only the one bed. And it can be either, extended to its full height, as you can see in the photo on the right, with the rainbow bedspread on it. And so if it's right up at the top, then there's a dresser underneath it, as well as a desk and a chair. And if the bed is dropped a bit, like it is on the left, then there is still some storage space down there, but the bed is a bit too low to comfortably put a desk down there. So then the desk is on the back of the bed frame. Each student also has a closet, and students often will bring, mini fridges and extra storage units, or not units, but like extra storage bins and things. You want to bring things to decorate your room, posters, bedspreads, lamps, that kind of thing. Really, make it your own, because you're going to be there for 10 months of the year. And so that is what the suite actually looks like. We don't have a photo of the bathroom area. You'll have to come on a campus tour to see that. A few basics about the residential life. So, as I said, we do recognize that our students are still minors. They are still high school age students. And so what we like to say is that we're offering you guided independence. So you are living away from home for the first time. You're responsible for, your own time management and doing your work. You're living, with roommates who you have to navigate, life with. But we also do have those adults on every floor to, as I said, supervise and guide you. And one of the things that we do is that we make sure that we know where everyone is. So unlike a regular high school where everyone goes to school at the same time from, say, I don't know, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. We do operate on that university schedule where students will have classes either Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday. And what that can mean is that every single student has a completely individual schedule. Some people will have class 8:30, on a Monday. Other people won't have class until 1 o'clock on a Monday. And so because of that, and the fact that you never, unless you somehow memorize 360 student schedules, you're never going to know where everyone is all the time. We have an app now that students have to use to sign in and sign out when they are not in the residence halls. So in the morning when they're heading over to one of the academic buildings to start their classes, they will go into their app and just hit, they're signing out of the res hall and they're heading over to, one of the classroom buildings. And that's it. Now we know where they are. When they come back to their dorm, maybe after lunch, they have some downtime. They want to come back to their dorm and have a quick nap. They're going to sign back in to the dorm. It also works for, we have some small restaurants just across the street from us. We have a Chick-fil-A and a Smoothie King, or there's a Starbucks down the street, or you're going to the NSU, maybe you're going to the NSU library, which is right next door, or the NSU athletic facility, any of those places that are within a very short walk, just across the street or down the block. You'll also just sign out, and those are, pre-approved locations on the app that you just say, I'm going to the library right now. I'm going to sign out, go to the library, and then you just sign back in when you come in. And so that's just in case there are any emergencies, something happens and we need to know kind of where everyone is. We can look at that app and just be like, okay, 95% of our students are on campus right now, but we got to just make sure we reach those other 5% during this emergency. We also do have an afternoon check-in time, which the students have started calling speed bump because it kind of puts a bump in their day. Because everyone can have such a different schedule, our afternoon check-in time is anywhere between the hours of 3 p.m. and 6:45 p.m. So it's almost 4 hours long. And basically sometime in that 3 hours and 45 minutes, you need to find 5 minutes to run over to the res hall and just check in at the front desk with whoever the staff member is there. You've got 4 hours to do it, just under 4 hours. Everyone can find that 5 minutes to do it, whether it's just after class, just before class, right before dinner, that kind of thing. And they have to show their face. You can't send your friend to check you in. You have to show your face. And so that just means that every day we know that everyone's safely accounted for at some point in that afternoon. We also do have curfew and room check. So at a certain point in the evening, all the students have to be up on their hall floor and in their rooms so that the res life person can come by and check to make sure everyone's there. And again, they have to see your face. You can't send your friend to check you in. And again, that's just, again, to make sure that everyone's accounted for as the evening draws in. I will say that curfew is later on weekday or weeknights. We recognize, nope, not weeknights, weekends. We recognize that students want to stay up a bit later when there's no class the next day. It's also a good time for, your res life person, your SLA to check in and see how your day went, pass on any messages, or you can ask them a question. So it's a good time to check in, not just to check into your room, but to kind of check in with your hall. We do get a lot of questions about whether students can bring their own cars to campus, and the answer is yes. If you have a license and you have a car, you can bring your car to campus. We have a parking lot right outside the res hall. You just, obviously you have to be old enough to have the car. And there is a certain level of academic privilege you have to have earned to have those driving privileges. So you have to make sure that your grades are good. And that your behavior has been good, so that you can drive, or you can ride with your friend who's got a car. Because if your grades are poor, we're going to want you, spending more time doing your homework and studying instead of, driving to the movies. But if everything looks good, you can sign out your car and take it to Walmart to pick up some last minute supplies, or as I said, go to the movies or drive downtown or whatever. The residence hall common areas, I mentioned them really briefly when I was talking about the res hall introduction, but I said we have got a large demonstration kitchen right in the main hall. And that is used by staff members to run cooking programs. I think they were doing a self-serve waffle bar this weekend, but also students can actually book it. And you want to get together with your friends and bake cookies. You can definitely do that. It's a pretty nice kitchen. And we also have several study areas on the main hall. And as I said, an arts and crafts room, a games room that has a pool table and a foosball table and a bunch of board games. We have a large student lounge that has a ridiculously large TV that students will play. They'll have video game nights there, or movie nights. There's a fire pit outside, and sometimes, when the weather is nice, they'll have outdoor movie nights. And so all of these common areas on the main floor, these are the only spaces in the residence hall where the genders can mix. Out on the halls, the girls have to stay in the girls' hall, the boys have to stay in the boys' hall, but down on the main floor, everyone can meet up, and you can meet with friends from different halls. So those are usually pretty busy places, especially on the weekends. Now, speaking about weekends, most weekends, it's up to the students whether they want to stay here on campus or whether they want to go home. It's personal choice. Some students, especially if they have a car, they might want to zip home for the weekend. There are only 3 weekends in the whole year that we ask all the students to stay on campus. One near the beginning for matriculation. There's Blue and Gold Week, and then there is graduation weekend. And other than that, like I said, if students want to go home every weekend, otherwise they absolutely can. If they want to stay on campus every other weekend, they almost can. We do have some extended weekends where we require the students to leave the dorms. As we say, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And so every 4 weeks or so, all the students leave the dorms and they go home, and so that they can, you can sleep in your own bed and eat some home cooked food, maybe see your pets that you've been missing, see your hometown friends. And so on months where there is not a holiday already, it'll just be sometime in that month. So actually, we've got an extended weekend coming up at the end of January, where basically we are ending classes at around noon on Thursday. So students go home Thursday afternoon, then they're home, Thursday night, all Friday, all Saturday, and then they come back on Sunday. So an extended weekend is just basically like a long weekend. For those months where we already have a holiday built in, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, the extended weekend just kind of takes place during that time. So like I said, it's on average, it's about every 4 weeks or so that everyone kind of gets a break, gets a long weekend, and gets to go home or on vacation somewhere. Some of the student services that we offer here on campus, we do offer health services. So we have a full clinic in the res hall, and we have a RN, an LPN, and a CNA who staff it. And that health clinic is open every weekday, and then the nurses are on call in the evenings and weekends. And so Nurse Mary and her team, they administer medication, they'll do first aid, they will, evaluate symptoms and maybe, call a doctor or a physician's assistant to, give them advice about whether the students need to go in. If a student needs to quarantine, they will, arrange that. And so those are our health services. This year, we've been doing weekly COVID testing that's voluntary. So they're obviously going to be running that. We also have, I guess I should say that Nurse Mary and her team will also arrange transportation if you have like a regular doctor's or dentist appointment that you need, that you've made arrangements for in town, or if it's an emergency situation, they'll arrange that as well. We have personal counselors who are different than our college counselors. And the personal counselors are also different from our academic advisors. So our academic advisors are the ones who work with you on like scheduling and, things like that. Our personal counselors are, they'll work with students either individually or on a group basis to cover not ongoing issues, but like temporary needs-based issues. It could be homesickness. Maybe you're stressing out about the adjustment to LSMSA, or you need some, work on mindfulness. maybe you're having a disagreement with your roommate, or you broke up with your boyfriend. All the counselors can deal with that kind of thing. Um, there are also wellness education topics that are offered. There are little workshops and seminars and things that are offered on Wednesdays, Wellness Wednesdays, where they'll do, how to create a little self-care kit, or a little lesson on meditation, that kind of thing. That's open to anybody. And our counselors and Res Life staff and our nurses are the ones to get together to offer that. And then in terms of local transportation, we do have vans and buses that can take students where they need to go or where they want to go. So as I already mentioned, if you need to get to a doctor's appointment or a medical emergency, we can transport you there. The Res Life staff will organize, shopping trips to Walmart or Super One to go get supplies. Maybe you need more late night study snacks, or more shampoo, and you can't wait until the next extended weekend to grab some from home. They will take students, to the movies when that's safe to do so, or out bowling or camping not camping, hiking in Kisatchie Forest, that kind of thing. So there are a number of different opportunities to get off of campus in a group, or individually, if that's what you need. Now, student activities, this is the fun stuff. So LSMSA has over 50 clubs, active clubs and organizations currently, and these can run the gamut from, kind of the regular clubs that you would expect: student government, beta club, 4-H, junior classical league, like in the picture, to things that are kind of unique to LSMSA. In the past, we've had a cheese club, where students just got together and sampled different types of cheeses when they wanted to. I think this year there's actually a Pringles club where they're sampling different types of Pringles. There's been an outdoors club where they go for hiking and walks and stuff. There's been a Lego club where they get together and build Lego. There's an anime club. There are, in election years, there's often political clubs, young Republicans, young Democrats. So there's a wide variety of clubs. And if we don't have the club that you have either always wanted to be in or you're missing from your homeschool, we make it really easy to start a new club. So, every year in the fall, we have kind of a club fair. We can go around and see what different clubs we have. And then, like I said, if there isn't one that catches your eye, or there's one you're kind of missing, we make it easy to start your own. So those are really fun. We also offer weekend activities. So every weekend that the Res Hall is open, so every weekend except those extended weekends, our Res Life staff will offer 1 or 2 activities for students, and those are free of charge. They're like included in the fees. So they can arrange from, like dances. We had the winter formal in December. The Sweethearts dance is coming up next month. We had karaoke and mocktails last weekend. They're watching different Marvel movies every week. I think they're doing them in chronological order. So they might be halfway through at this point. Aren't there like 26 Marvel movies? But they offer all different kinds of things. I said they got this self-serve waffle bar and cooking demonstrations and stuff. So there are different activities, to kind of try out. And those, I said, are offered by the Res Life staff. We also do offer opportunities for leadership and service. We have what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, we go volunteer with the Natchitoches Food Pantry. And so, any students that want to do that, they're welcome to do that. There are also a number of churches in the area, and many of our students will get involved in different church activities. And that's another thing where local transportation comes into play. Either, our staff will drive you there and back to the church, or sometimes the church will come and get you. So there are a number of opportunities to get involved in the Natchitoches community as well. Athletics. We have a number of different athletic opportunities, but we are not a sports first school. The LSMSA teams we're not part of the Louisiana High School Sports Association. our teams are open to any student with or without experience who wants to try. We have teams, and what do? We do girls and boys basketball. We have volleyball, ultimate frisbee, flag football, I believe, and I always forget one. But anyway, there's one more. I think it's soccer. So we have those teams, and we play with other, small private schools or Christian schools, because with us, it is academics that always comes first. So, if we had our volleyball team and half of them had a major biology test the next day, and, they can say to the coach, like, look, coach, I can't play tonight. I have to study. Our coaches are going to say, absolutely, you should, we'll forfeit the game. It's fine. Whereas, if you tried to say that probably to, your football coach, he might not take it quite so well. Our teams we play for fun. For fun and exercise. However, we do have some students who come here who are dedicated athletes. They've been playing football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, track, powerlifting, swimming, all kinds of things. And they want to continue to play at a higher level. We do have 2 local high schools in town, Natchitoches Central and St. Mary's, and they have a variety of teams. All of our students are welcome to try out for those teams. And if you make that team, if you have to figure out how to fit that into your schedule, but a lot of our students do make it work. If you do want to keep playing at that competitive level, if it's a sport that is offered within the city, we definitely will not stop people. We will do our best to help students make that work. We found that some sports work better than others in those instances. Football and basketball that are very practice and game heavy are a bit trickier, but we have had students who've done it very successfully. Other sports like track or like powerlifting have less practice time. They're a bit more easier to fold into our academic schedule. But again, it's all based on your individual experience. For those students who are not into structured sports, but still want to keep fit, we have our own gym and weight room. You can see we've got a boxing ring there in that photo. And if that is not quite enough fitness equipment for them, you can also purchase a student membership for the NSU facilities as well. So we like to keep you healthy. Now, the big question after all of this, all of these activities and academics and college level professors and winter formals and all that stuff, how much will this cost? Well, first of all, I said at the very beginning of this presentation, it's a public school, so there is no tuition. If you are a resident of Louisiana, this school is free for you. But we do have to charge a room and board fee, and it's $1,200 a year. Now, that includes your housing, all your meals, lab fees, textbooks, and a security deposit. And in fact, that $1,200 includes that security deposit that is only payable in your first year. So if you come as a sophomore, you're paying $1,200. As a junior and a senior, you'd actually be paying a bit less because your security deposit will still be on file. Art classes generally have a bit of an additional fee. I think it's $25 per class, but that's capped at a maximum of $75. So pretty minimal. We do also have a student activity fee, and that's a maximum of $250 a year. It's actually $210 for sophomores and juniors. It goes up to $250 for seniors because they're paying for cap and gown for graduation. But that student activity fee, that includes your yearbook, all your laundry. We have, I didn't mention, we have laundry facilities on every hall floor. And you don't have to save your quarters or anything. You just go down, bring your own soap and obviously your own dirty clothes. You can do your laundry. Anyway, that fee includes yearbook, laundry, cap and gown, PSAT, and all those social activities, those evening and weekend social activities organized by our staff. Now, if you're the type of person who wants to, go to the movies every week or has got to get that Chick-fil-A, 3 times a week, that's on you. You got to bring the money for that. But, if you want to go to all our dances, you want to hit up that self-serve waffle bar, you want to watch all the Marvel movies, that's all included. You want to do laundry every night, that's all included. Now, we think that's pretty reasonable, but we recognize that not everybody can pay that up front. So we do offer fee reductions or waivers depending on your circumstances. If you qualify for free or reduced lunch, you qualify for a free or reduced board fee. We also offer payment plan options in case you can't pay it all at once. And you know, we are very proud to say that we have never refused a student for financial reasons. You know, if students are good enough to get into LSMSA, we will find a way for them to come. We also have the LSMSA Foundation, which is our nonprofit charitable foundation, and they raise funds every year from alumni and parents and the community, and they can offer financial assistance for those families who maybe don't meet the free or reduced lunch you know, income requirements, but maybe you know, maybe you've had a rough year, maybe there's been, you know, unexpected medical bills, maybe someone's lost their job, maybe you've got 5 other kids who are already in college, you know, whatever the circumstance is, you need some extra financial assistance to attend LSMSA. We can make that happen. All you have to do is ask. So we do want to make it very clear that please do not ever let financial considerations stop you from applying and coming to LSMSA. You know, we are a public school. We take that very seriously, and so we want to be open to everybody from across the state who meets our criteria. So let's talk about who does meet our criteria. So an LSMSA Eagle is motivated, collaborative, and hardworking. Now you notice that I did not say super smart because, you know, it is important that that you test well and that you have good grades, but you have to be hardworking and motivated to be here. If your parents want you to be here, but you don't want to be here, it's not going to be a good fit for you. You're not motivated. If you've always gotten good grades, but it's because you've never had to try and you don't want to start trying now, you're not going to be the right fit for us. You need to be a hard worker to be here. If you're super competitive and always have to be number one and, you know, will burn any bridge you cross, this may not be the right place for you. We are super collaborative. We pride ourselves on being a community and kind of creating a home away from home. You know, we have, I think, 5,000 alumni now over the past almost 40 years. And, you know, the alumni love coming back here. They love connecting with each other. They love meeting, you know, each year's new crop of students. And we, you know, everyone that comes to the school is super smart and definitely deserving to be here. And so we like to work together and collaborate and share our talents, share our knowledge, you know, and not be, you know, crowing over who got the first spot in biology class. So these are the application steps if you're interested in coming to LSMSA. First of all, go online to lsmsa.edu and start an online application. This application, there's an apply now button right on the home screen. It's pretty easy to find. You can start that application and then, you know, kind of walk away from it. So you don't have to sit down and fill out the whole application right away. There are some, you know, questions that we'd really like you guys to give some thought to when you're answering them. But you can start that application, kind of see what those questions are. And there are some questions for mom and dad too. But just by getting that application going, you're going to kind of see what we're looking for. There are also some materials that we'll need you to provide as part of your application. And I should say all of this is going into an online portal. So your online application, that's in our system. We're looking for grades and test results. We're looking for students who get A's or mostly A's. You know, the occasional B is not a deal breaker. For test results, we're asking you to submit LEAP scores, EOC scores. We'd like you to take the ACT or SAT if possible. We want some teacher recommendations, and as part of the online checklist, it'll kind of walk you through that process. Generally, we want a math teacher and an English teacher. and also a guidance counselor or principal, some kind of administrative figure. The guidance counselor or principal has to be from the current year of the school that you're going to right now. We're going to be looking, we're going to be asking them about, your attendance, your behavior, have there been any disciplinary issues, that kind of thing. So we need to kind of get an up to date accounting of that. For your English and math teacher recommendations, we recognize that a lot of our students are probably starting, ninth grade at a new school. And so if you're putting in an application, now or maybe a bit earlier, maybe you don't feel like your English teacher that well, or they don't know you that well yet. It's only been, 3 or 4 months. If you have an English or math teacher from last year, from 8th grade, who knows you better, you're welcome to ask them for the recommendation instead. So those are the recommendations that we're looking for. There is also, maybe you think, yeah, I can get a recommendation from my English and math teacher, but like, who really knows me best is my art teacher, or my, Boy Scout troop leader. That's great. There is an option to upload some optional recommendations as well. If you want to have someone else who really gets you and can really speak well to your strengths, we can do that as well. The last thing that we're looking for is a campus visit, because we really feel like you're not going to be able to envision yourself here until you've actually been here. And so we offer a number of different avenues for you to visit the campus. We have campus tours that currently are scheduled. There's one Saturday every month that those are scheduled for. We have exploration days, which are, I think we've got 2 more coming up now, one at the end of January, one at the end of March. And for an exploration day, you and your parents come to our campus. It's a school day. Don't worry, we'll give you an excuse letter. And you come to our campus, and the students, you guys can sit in on classes and see what a class is actually like, see what 2 or 3 different classes are like. The parents are going to meet the director of academic services and the director of student services, and hear in a lot more detail about, how classes actually go here and what the student life is like. And then everyone gets to take a campus tour. You can even eat in the cafeteria. Those are our most in-depth kind of visits that you can take. If any of our scheduled visits or exploration days don't work for you, you can also just contact the admissions office. And if there's a different day and time that works for you, you can arrange a private tour. So we do feel like it's, as I said, a very important part of the process. We strongly encourage everyone to come for a visit. If there are reasons that you can't, it's not going to be a deal breaker. And then the interview happens after you have submitted all the rest of your application materials. And typically now we do our interviews through Zoom. We find it easiest for everybody because we can reach people from across the state without them having to come all the way back up here. And our interview is really more of a getting to know you. We just want to ask a few more questions, kind of put a face to the name of all the application materials that we've been seeing. If there are any questions raised by your materials, we might probe into that a bit more. But generally at that point, we just want to get a better sense of who you are as an individual, so that, we can make sure that we're going to be the right spot for you. So those are the steps of our application. I will say our application process for the upcoming school year for the 2022 fall admittance is open now, and we do a rolling admissions. So we've had our application system open now since the fall, and we are just wrapping up our first round of applicants to review and accept. And that'll be shortly, but we will keep accepting students until we run out of spaces or until the school year starts. So it depends how many people we have apply. One of the things that I did mention was, we're looking for people to submit their ACT or SAT scores. These are some of the test dates that have been for this year. The ACT, you can see those first 2 have already come and gone, or at least it's too late to register for the February one. So there is still an April date if you prefer to take the ACT. For the SAT, there's still a March date that you can register now by, as well as a May one. We always encourage people to try and take those tests sooner rather than later in the school year, because of course, once you take it, then you have to wait for the score to come back and then you can submit it. If you haven't taken it yet, you might want to jump on that now. Or if you are, in 8th grade now and you're listening to this and you're preparing to apply for the following year, maybe just think in your head, maybe I should be kind of planning to take these standardized tests in December. That way, if everything goes poorly and you get a bad grade on that test, you can always take it again in the spring and you've still got the time, but that won't happen. So that is kind of a wrap up of this session. I'm going to ask Miss Emily to come on back, and we're going to see what kind of questions you guys have had for us this whole time.
Thank you, Heather. Hopefully my internet's a little smoother right now. So the chat has been fairly quiet throughout. I see a couple of things maybe coming through now, but a couple of questions that did come through. One question was about how do roommates work in terms of like picking a roommate and that sort of thing. And so if you know somebody that's come into the school who you think you would want to live with, you have a friend that's already here, or you have a friend that's also applying with you, you can always request to live with your friend. And as long as y'all are both in agreement and you want to live together, we will always try to honor those requests. For students that don't know somebody that's applying with them to come to this school, you fill out a roommate questionnaire, and we ask you a lot of questions about what your preferences are and what your style is like in terms of, if you'd like to go to bed early, if you like the room hot or cold, different things like that. And we'll try to pair you with somebody that we think will be a good fit. Early on in that roommate relationship, your Red Life staff member will help you to sort of make a roommate contract and talk a little bit about what y'all expect in the room, and then they'll help you if any problems come up. And then there are a few chances during the school year as well that you can change rooms if you want to change rooms. Let's see what else we have in terms of some questions coming through. One is whether a social worker could count as your administrative person in the school. And I think they probably could. The administrative one can usually be either a principal or a counselor. So I think a social worker could work for that as well. One of the things that administrative recommendation asks for that your teachers don't always have access to is some real specific things about whether your attendance has been good and whether you've had any sort of disciplinary history. So as long as that person can attest to your good behavior and your pretty regular attendance at school, that would be fine. Another question about practice ACT and practice SAT scores. We traditionally prefer the actual ACT or the actual SAT, but if you do have a practice ACT or a practice SAT test, you can certainly upload those to us, particularly if you're not able to get in and take the ACT or the SAT. We've been a little bit more lenient on that the past few years, just because with COVID, sometimes it's been hard to get into a testing center. All the tests were canceled for a while. I think this year our applicants are having a pretty good success rate at getting in to take the test, but certainly it's something that we can consider. Somebody that's currently going into 9th grade that would like to know if they could tour this year. Absolutely. We start letting students come to exploration days during the 8th grade even. And so you can certainly come to an exploration day or schedule a tour. Can a gifted teacher be a recommender? Yes, that would generally probably be one of your optional recommendations for the gifted teacher, but absolutely. Great question. We do not offer driver's ed. So usually our students, as far as driver's ed is concerned, they need to try to work out to take that during the summer. And so a lot of times they'll do it either the summer before they come to our school or a summer in between 2 of the grades at LSMSA to make sure that they get their driver's ed stuff taken care of. Let's see. There was one more question I saw earlier about academic support. So we talk a lot about how it's college level work, and that's somewhat intimidating sometimes. And so what happens if you start to struggle? So again, we know that we're bringing in some of the brightest students from throughout the state. And so, we know you guys are capable and able to do this level of work, but also for almost every student that comes to LSMSA, it's a big transition. It's a big adjustment. Things we hear very commonly are, I've never had to study before. It just all came really easily. I've never really had much homework before. I was able to get it all done in class, during the school day. And so that transition can be a lot for many, if not all of our students. And so we do have some really great academic supports. One of those is just our faculty. Our faculty, as Ms. Heather has mentioned, they are really excited to work with our students and very available to assist. And in addition to their class times, they host office hours, and each faculty member has about 10 scheduled office hours per week. And they will tell you on your syllabus what time their office hours are. And so with that college schedule, what you'll do is also like you would do in college, you'll take a look at your schedule and you'll see, okay, I don't have any classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10:30. And my algebra instructor has an office hour on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10:30. So that's going to be a good time for me to drop by his office and to get some assistance with this. And so there's lots of opportunities to go meet with your faculty and get help directly from the expert if you need help with any of the subjects. In addition to that, some of our students for their work service assignment will serve as tutors. And so there are tutors in the residence hall, there's a writing center, there's a math center. So lots of opportunities if you do find, wow, this is harder than what I'm used to find some people to help with that. All right, any other questions? Double checking to see. I don't think I missed anything that's run through. Anything else y'all can think of right now? When are decisions made? Great question. So yeah, as you send in your materials, really generally as soon as we have your file and it's all complete, we've gotten everything we need, we'll try to reach out to schedule your interview. And if any of you guys are, I know some of y'all's names I have seen, so if you're getting close or have maybe submitted everything at this point, we will be reaching out soon. We've been scheduling interviews recently to start getting through that. And so we'll reach out, we'll set up a time that works for you to do your interview on Zoom. And then after that, we'll send everything to selection committee. And that selection committee usually meets every couple of weeks after we get into the start of the year. So I would imagine that first meeting will happen pretty soon, this week or next week. And from there, we just make decisions on a rolling basis. So you finish your materials and get your interview done, and it maybe takes us a couple weeks to get you an answer. All right. Good. You did a great job covering everything, Heather, and they don't have many questions. Okay. Well, if you think of questions after the fact, you can always reach out to us. You can always email us at admissions@lsmsa.edu. You've got our phone number up on the screen there. And so we'd be happy to answer your questions via phone or via email. If you have any trouble with the application process, let us know. And if you haven't had a chance to visit campus, we would love for you to come to one of our exploration days or one of our tours. And you can get to the registration forms for those on our website, probably maybe the same way that you got registered for this, unless you went directly from social media, but you can go just to the admissions site on our webpage and go look at the visit part. And there's links to sign up for a Saturday tour or for an exploration day. And otherwise, if you need anything, just let us know. We look forward to hopefully seeing you on campus, maybe seeing you next fall, or maybe the fall after that, if you still have another year before you'll be applying. All right. All right, everybody have a great night. Thanks for being here.